So there's been a lot of movies came out, like really 4 big movies, right? Like Mufasa, Nosferatu, Lord of the Rings, War of the Rohirrim, and Sonic 3.
I haven't seen any of these Sonic movies. So
You haven't seen any of them?
I haven't seen a single frame of them. Yeah.
Fascinating.
Besides the original trailer and the improved trailer.
I think they'd play pretty well for your boys. I mean,
I think they would. They're not familiar with Sonic, and so and it's pretty hard to get them to sit down for a movie. Like they don't like movies. Like they like The Grinch and they like Mario, and that's it.
I think if I was like 7 through 10 and I saw these Sonic movies, they would be big hits with me.
Yeah, I'm sure.
So, well, I mean, to recap very quickly, the first movie was kind of like, you get a little bit of the sense that they didn't know what they were doing, but that they were very committed to still making a good movie. So, of course, we know that there was the horrible design and the strange direction that they were going in, and then they turned the whole thing around and made a decent family movie. But it still feels weird. Like, Robotnik's skinny. It's Jim Carrey. He's not acting anything particularly like Robotnik. He doesn't have the big mustache or the bald head or anything like that. The rings, Sonic's an alien with like a owl mom, and he mostly like Roger Rabbit's his way around with like James Marsden. Like it doesn't really feel like, it felt like they didn't quite know how they were going to do this thing. But it works. And there's like a third act that feels Sonic-y. And like his home planet looks like Green Hill Zone. There's a lot of humans in that one. There's like a lot of like, why the fuck are these humans in this movie type of stuff.
Yeah, it is funny because there was like a movie poster for the third one I saw. And it has all the characters, like Sonic and Tails and Knuckles. And then it has like the second half is all the human characters. I'm like, who the fuck are they?
Yeah. Yeah, big old cast of humans. Yeah, exactly. So then by the second one, they made a much more faithful Sonic movie, I would say, in most ways. Now Tails is in it. Now Knuckles is in it. They got Idris Elba playing Knuckles to really funny effect. They made him kind of, like a meathead, like a tribal meathead, basically. Robotnik's got like an assistant like named Dr. Stone, I think, and he makes him like goat milk lattes. That's like one of the big jokes in it. You see my point? Like they make jokes. They're like, what's this got to do with Sonic? But they do it anyway. And Jim Carrey was a little bit more unleashed. He had the mustache, he had the bald head. Now you have like 3 animated characters, so that added a lot to it. There were some set pieces, like there was one that was just straight up Labyrinth Zone. They were looking for the Master Emerald. They kind of, for plot purposes, they kind of conflated Master Emerald with the Chaos Emeralds. It's sort of like the same thing, basically. Like all the Chaos Emeralds come together to be the Master Emerald. So they did the supersonic thing at the end of that movie. They did like a Death Egg thing at the end of that movie. So that was pretty Sonic-y. And then this one, they take another big step forward with Shadow, played by Keanu Reeves. It really follows the Sonic Adventure 2. So I don't know how familiar you are with like the Dreamcast Sonic Adventure 2 game.
Yeah, I actually surprisingly little because I played the first Sonic Adventure and then I was out.
You remember how Sonic Adventure 1 had like more story than Sonic had ever had before? Sonic Adventure 2 had like more story than that. Robotnik's got a grandfather that he's responsible for Shadow, who's the ultimate life form, who has chaos energy, who was befriended a little girl named Maria and she died. And so he's tragic and all this. It was like very anime, actually. That's probably the best way to put it. Like Sonic Adventure 2 was very anime. And this just follows that. This just does basically that plot.
There's a meme of like Maria getting shot. Is that a thing?
Yeah.
So that she just gets shot in this film?
Yeah, off camera. But okay. There's like a scene where he's cradling her dead body. Yeah, that's in the movie.
Oh, wow.
And, I think with Jim Carrey, it was one of those moments where they were like, you're going to get to play your own grandfather. And so he's just going batshit. I know he wants to retire anyway. This guy, Jim Carrey, I mean, he's been such a success in Hollywood. He's such a draw. At the height of his powers, nobody could stop him. I think he probably, you hear about what an asshole he was.
Universal didn't want the footage we took behind the scenes to surface so that people wouldn't think I was an asshole.
I remember Jerry Lawler says, like on the set of Man on the Moon, he's embodying Andy Kaufman, but like this is not how Andy Kaufman acted at all. And like, doesn't he realize that me and Andy were in on it together? I guess Milos Forman, the director, was like, Jerry, what can I do? He is 800-pound gorilla. What do I say to him? I think when you're that talented and people stake that much money on you, you become fucking crazy. And I think that's why he's had to get into his whole, like, maybe I'm nobody. He's had to get into his egoless space.
There is no me.
There's no you.
No.
We're not here. This is a dream.
There's just things happening.
I think he's even found, like, Jesus at some point, and
You made the decision to walk through the gate of forgiveness to grace, just as Christ did on the cross.
you hear him talk about he wants to retire because he's like, because I'm enough. Maybe I'm enough.
I have enough. I've done enough. I am enough.
Anyway, so it was surprising to see him just show up in another franchise film, like doing his thing. And boy, is he doing his. I mean, maybe it's positive growth because he's not ashamed to be Jim Carrey in this. That's for sure. I remember when I saw like the Grinch, the Jim Carrey Grinch, you could tell that they were just there with cameras, and he was like, "Oh, maybe I could do this," and then, "Oh, maybe I could do." Like you could tell, like he's the one coming up with a lot of the the pratfalls and stuff, and then they would film it and try it. That's what's going on in this movie for sure. He's the one coming up with, like, nobody's writing this stuff for him, and he's executing it. He's the one going like, maybe it'd be really funny if Robotnik said this to his grandfather. And so
it definitely seems like he is very enthusiastic about this franchise for some reason.
yeah, he said I was really hoping for a really great franchise, and I really got one. But spoilers. Spoilers.
Get a load of this. The biggest spoiler in the whole movie.
The character dies at the end of the movie.
Robotnik?
Yeah, it is. The Robotnik trilogy has completed, I would suspect. And now they'll move on to Metal Sonic and whatever else they're going to do. There was a big tease in the mid-credit sequence where Amy Rose shows up, and there's a bunch of Metal Sonics around, and Gloria just went absolutely batshit for the she hasn't been able to stop talking about, like, when do I get to see the fourth one? I'm like, kid, they probably don't even really have a concept for it yet.
Yeah.
All they've done is just tease your favorite character. One of the most famous Sonic things in the last 30 years or however long he's existed was at the end of Sonic Adventure 2, both Sonic and Shadow get the Master Emerald, and they both become Supersonics together. And it plays that rock music that is the main title. It's the theme song for Sonic Adventure 2. It's Live and Learn. Live and Learn.
We're in danger. The colony will enter the atmosphere in about 4 minutes.
When you load up that game, the main title, it's like
My God, that was awful. Even the most simple lead lines he was having difficulty with. He was either off pitch, out of tune, out of time, sounded like he was struggling just to do the basic stuff. He was not doing the parts that you heard in the studio recordings. That is fucking bullshit right there.
And that, of course, has lyrics, Live and Learn. And so there was as the plot was kind of like headed in the direction of that, I was like, they have to do it, right? They have to do Live and Learn. It's such a big moment for Sonic. And, like, God damn it, they did it.
It's always nice when a movie is like, I hope they do that, and then they do it.
yeah. They could have done it a little longer, they could have been even more indulgent, I think. But they did it. They played the song. They had the poses of the two characters like coming together. Like they did it. I honestly, I could have gone for like a like a new orchestral arrangement of the song. Or something to kind of like separate it out a little bit more, but it got a pop out of me. I was like, fuck yeah. You did it. You could see them like, okay, they both become supersonic, but we're not going to play the song,
Yeah.
I go, you better play the song.
You better play the song.
You know why? Because I want you to. And I paid money.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
How about that?
Please service me as the fan.
Right? Like, this is not hard. They had like a Chow Garden scene. It was like a themed restaurant called the Chow Garden, and the mascots were chows. They had just a lot of stuff like that. It was very light in general. It wasn't like it's not a heavy movie. It's a good family movie. Yeah. And it made a whole lot of money. Beat out Mufasa. Funny story. I get up at the end. Gloria's excited. She's punching the air. She's in that movie mode. Nina's like, she's like dead in her chair. I'm like, what's wrong with you? It wasn't that bad. And she was like, I have a wicked migraine. I was like, why? And she goes, the two guys in front of us reek like BO. And I walk over. They both had like black hoodies on that were just like radiating with green stench. And I take a whiff. I'm like, holy shit. You know what? And it was almost nostalgic. I haven't smelled teen boys in a couple of decades.
You haven't smelled Sonic fans in a long
Sonic fans, yeah. And I was like, you could have moved. Could we have done something for you? I could have asked them to leave.
Please, sir, you're too stinky. You're too stinky for society. Please leave.
I was also thinking, I was like, what would have happened if the original design for Sonic? What if that just continued? What would Tails look like? What would Knuckles look like? What would Shadow look like? Shadow's showing up. Like, how could he be menacing with that?
If they kept that design, nobody would have saw that movie.
It's just remarkable. I mean, this is really not that hard. Like, he should look like Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah.
Ugly Sonic, that's the spirit.
And they'll like me for who I am. Not like last time when the internet got one look at my human teeth and burned the place down.
Subscribe to Red Cow Entertainment on Patreon for full episodes every other week.